My respected brothers, elders, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you'd like to all join us in the front hall, inshallah, or as far forward as you can come, inshallah, we'll look to make a start. I'd like to welcome all to our first lecture of the new year. And as always, we will begin with a recitation of the Quran and Hadith.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر وما أنزل على الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقولا إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون ولو أنهم آمنوا واتقوا لمثوبة من عند الله خير لو كانوا يعلمون صدق الله العظيم. And the translation for that, brothers and sisters, and the people of Suleiman instead followed the magic promoted by the devils during his reign. Never did Suleiman disbelieve, rather the devils disbelieved. They taught magic to the people along with what had been revealed to the two angels Harut and Marut in Babylon. The two angels never taught anyone without saying, "We are only a test for you, so do not abandon your faith." Yet people learned magic, and that caused a rift even between husband and wife. Although the magic could not harm anyone except by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will. They learnt what harmed them and did not benefit them. Although they already knew that whoever buys into magic would have no share in the hereafter. Miserable indeed was the price for which they sold their souls, if only they knew. If only they were faithful and mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there would have been a better reward from Him, if only they knew. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. That was Brother Hasib Ahmed with Quran recitation. Now we'll have Brother Ammar Rahim to read us our hadith.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The hadith I'm going to read out to you today is from Musnad al-Bazar, and the hadith number is 3578. And it's reported by Imran ibn Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Imran ibn Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "He is not one of us who reads omens or has them read for him, or who performs soothsaying or has it performed for him, or who practices magic or has it practiced for him." I'll read it again. The Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "He is not one of us who reads omens or has them read for him, or who performs soothsaying or has it performed for him, or who practices magic or has it practiced for him." The hadith number, I'll say it again, 3578, and the source is Musnad al-Bazar. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ammar. So, once again, My dear respected brothers and elders, I greet you with the best of greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, welcome to our lecture, The Reality of Black Magic by Ustad Waseem Khan. I'll tell you just a little bit about our speaker. Ustad Waseem Khan has benefited from studying with scholars from Pakistan, Egypt, and the UK on various Islamic sciences, including tafsir and hadith. Waseem Khan also holds a formal educational background and has held the position of head teacher at Green Lane Masjid, alongside leadership positions for various charities in the charity sector. Waseem Khan has a special interest in studying social sciences and is a master's graduate in education from the University of Warwick, alongside holding a master's degree in philanthropic studies from the University of Kent. He utilizes his spare time towards inspiring and motivating people towards the teachings of Islam by regularly delivering weekly khutbahs and talks in various masajid across the UK. Now, brothers, there will be a question and answer session after the talk. So please, if you do if any questions do spring to mind, then please wave to one of our volunteers. They will be standing around at the doors for a pen and some paper to write down your questions, inshallah. So for anyone with social medias, please be sure to share our YouTube link onto others so that they may also benefit. And then please also, we request that you turn your phone off or turn it to airplane mode. Jazakallah khair. And so without further ado, I shall pass the floor to Ustad Waseem.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات والصلاة والسلام على النبي العربي المبعوث للناس أجمعين وعلى آله وصحبه من تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Wallahi, it gives me great pleasure to see so many radiant faces here. Munawwareen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen you to be here to partake and take some knowledge. And I pray firstly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow you to leave this gathering with more benefit and more spirituality, and more importantly, with more information that you can act upon more than you came in. This is the dua that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the inception, right from the beginning of this talk. I was speaking to Imam Saeed at the beginning, just before the talk started, and wallahi, another great testament to the great work that the masjid is doing is again the amount of people who are here. And I always subscribe to the activities that are taking place here at Masjid Aisha. And wallahi, it's absolutely incumbent, mandatory in today's day and age that the masjid is the hub of the community. The masjid is the pillar of the community which caters for the needs of every one of you sitting here, whether you're a male or a female, whether you're a youngster, whether you're middle-aged, whether you're from the elderly community. And this is something that we are seeing here at Masjid Aisha. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept the efforts of every one of the people who are linked to the masjid here. Before we begin this very important talk, it's very important that I share a very important disclaimer with you, which means that when we talk about magic and sihr and issues of jinn, it's very important never to conflate these issues with the real medical issues that some of you may be going through. If somebody has genuine epilepsy, for example, or somebody has genuine psychological issues, or somebody who needs medication because of depression, this is an issue that needs to be addressed by the medics. Firstly, primarily, you have to seek medical help and support. If that avenue has been exhausted, and you have been to every doctor, every hospital, every clinic, and still they cannot understand that there is something wrong with you, then this could be something that is to do with the jinn or sihr. Normally what we do, we put it the other way around. We put the cart before the horse, instead of the horse and then the cart. Anything, you have a headache, kisi ne jadoo kiya aapke. Or you have something, I think it's jinn. Very important to dissect both of these and understand that some of you may go through genuine health-related issues, so it's important not to conflate these issues. We proceed now with the talk. Allah, it's very difficult in half an hour or 40 minutes to give you everything about sihr and jinn. But I'll try my best to try and extrapolate what I can. We can begin this talk by looking at the current context, the 21st century. We live in times, wallahi, where the advent of technology, the advent of science, the advent of medical revolution has made it seem to some people that there is no such thing as jinn or the things that we know as the things of the ghaib. Nowadays, everything is technology. You can put someone through an x-ray, you can see their heart, you can see their arms, which one's broken, how their liver is functioning, how their kidneys are functioning. You can go from here to Pakistan, India, Africa, in under 7-8 hours. A journey which would have taken many, many months, hundreds of years ago, or many years before that. And because of technology, and because we can go to the moon and back, when it comes to the paranormal, things such as jinn and sihr, you're thinking, these things don't exist. If they existed, then we would have seen through extra, this x-ray, thermal imaging, sophisticated equipment that we have, we would have spotted jinn many years ago. But the reality is that there is a world of the jinn. There is a world of sihr, magic, and we'll take this from the Quran, that these things actually do exist. In order for us to take the first lesson, the story, there are many stories from the Quran, but the one that is most consistent from the Quran is the encounter that Musa alayhi salam had with the sahir, with the magician. And the magicians, actually there were more magicians that he had an encounter with when he met Fir'aun. This was something that was remarkable, because Fir'aun is somebody who was an arrogant tyrant, a person who wanted to keep hold of his kingdom. And he didn't want to take any orders from a prophet, from a Rasul, or from a higher being from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when Musa alayhi salam came to him, and he showed him his hand, and he presented the staff which became a serpent, he thought this is a run-of-the-mill sahir. Not Musa, this is common. Maybe you're a better magician than what is found in my kingdom. So what does he say? وَقَالَ فِرْعَوْنُ ائْتُونِي بِكُلِّ سَاحِرٍ عَلِيمٍ. He said, okay, Musa, I'll set a date for you. If you think you're a good magician, I will call upon the best magicians and we will have a competition. Because what you are bringing, Musa, is nothing. This is standard. Everyone does magic. I don't believe that you are a Nabi. I just think you're a magician. So the day that everybody's waiting for arrives, Musa alayhi salam, he's standing there with his brother Harun, and the magicians arrive. And it's time to take, as they play cricket, you flick the coin toss, you want to bat or field. So Musa gave it to them. He said, فَلَمَّا جَاءَ السَّحْرَةُ قَالَ لَهُمْ مُوسَى أَلْقُوا مَا أَنْتُمْ مُلْقُونَ. He said to them, the ball's in your court. You do what you want to do. You throw what you want to do. You do the hocus pocus that you want to do. And so they began to do their magic. And this was the magic that hypnotized the eyes. This was the magic that was like an illusion, that made it seem that ropes were like serpents. And people were looking at this and they were like, wow, this is amazing. But for Musa alayhi salam, this was not amazing. He knew that this was sihr. He knew that this was magic. He knew that what he had was something divine. So the Quran mentions, فَلَمَّا أَلْقَوْا قَالَ لَهُمْ مُوسَى مَا جِئْتُمْ بِهِ بِالسِّحْرِ. You have only brought sihr. Inna Allah sayubtilu, inna Allah la yuslihu amal al-mufsidin. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will waste your efforts. Allah doesn't help those people who are mufsideen, the corrupt people. And then he threw down his serpent, he threw down his rod, and it became what? It became a snake. And they began to be astonished at what's taking place here. A rod that has taken the form of a snake, and it has taken their ropes and it has just chewed it down, and they are shocked. They are thinking, he's no sahir. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first incident that we have. And then وَأُلْقِيَ السَّحْرَةُ سَاجِدِينَ, they fell down in prostration. قَالُوا آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ رَبِّ Musa wa Harun. They said, we submit to the Rabb of Musa and Harun. We admit we were sorcerers, we were magicians, we were dabbling in black magic, we did all this illusion. But this man here, he's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Fir'aun said, I will hang you, I will do this to you, I will do that to you. But they said, do what you like. رَبَّنَا أَفْرِغْ عَلَيْنَا صَبْرًا وَتَوَفَّنَا مُسْلِمِينَ. They did dua to Allah. Allah pour down upon us patience and allow us to die as Muslims, because we have seen the truth. Prior to this, we were magicians. We were doing hocus pocus, Houdini, Paul Daniels, everything else. Now we have seen the truth and we submit. So that is the first passage from the Quran that we find that magic exists, because unfortunately, many people, because of the advent of technology, like I mentioned before, they begin to think now that, these things are tales of the old. Na'udhu billah, even if it's mentioned in the Quran, there is no such thing as magic. The Quran affirms that there is magic. And then we go to the second passage of the Quran, or second part of the Quran, where we have this great, in Surah Sad, we have this dua that was made by Suleiman alayhi salam, who Allah had granted such a kingdom, where he made this dua, Rabbi gfirli wa habli mulkan la yanbaghi li ahadin min ba'di. Oh Allah, forgive me and grant me a kingdom that you will grant to no one after me. No prophet, no wali of Allah, no alim, no mufti, no saint, no one. And Allah gave him this dua. He accepted this dua. How? Gave him the control of the jinn, the weather, the animals. He had all this amazing kingdom with him. And what he would do is that he would make sure that he would control the jinn, because the jinns were very mischievous. And Bani Israel used to dabble in a lot of magic. And he would make sure that he would control the jinn. And Ibn Kathir mentions that he gathered all the books of Kabbalah and all the books of magic, and he hid them under his throne. And on one occasion, whilst he's resting on his stick and he's watching the jinn's work, it is decreed that his soul is taken from his body. And as his soul is taken from his body, he carries on leaning on his stick, and the jinns are still working, because they didn't want to work, but they were subjugated by Suleiman alayhi salam, because he could control the jinn. And a few days later, when a small insect began to chew on the stick, and then the weight buckled under his weight, Suleiman alayhi salam, when he fell down, they said, he's dead. We're released now. We don't need to work for him anymore. We're free. And then some narrations mention it was shaitan. Other narrations mention it was one of the jinn who came in the form of a man. And they said to Bani Israel, do you know how Suleiman alayhi salam, he controlled us, or the jinn? You see, if you go and dig under his arsh, you will find all the books that are linked, that are to do with magic. And that's what he used to do. He was a magician. He was a sahir. And he would use these hocus pocus books to do all kinds of magic, to control jinn, to make people love each other, hate each other, break each other up. And that's exactly what the people did. They went towards the arsh, they took off the arsh and they began to dig, and lo and behold, they found these books. That is why the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was in Medina and he would often converse with the Yahud, they would say that Suleiman alayhi salam was what? A sahir. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayahs that the young man memorized from Surah Baqarah. وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَرُوتَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that it wasn't Suleiman alayhi salam who disbelieved, it was the jinn who disbelieved, the shayateen who disbelieved. And they followed the magic that was sent down by two Harut and Marut in a place that we call Babylon. Babylon. And this is true. If someone denies this, then this is like you're denying revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it goes on to mention, وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. That these two angels, they would say, before they would tell anyone about the magic, that this is going to be a fitna, and if you partake in it, it's going to cause you to go down the road of kufr. And it also mentions, فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا مَا يُفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. And they would teach people how to separate mar'i wa zawji, husband and wife. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. However, if no harm will come to anyone except by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ayah is quite long. It goes on to say how these people have sold their iman for the akhirah. They have sold themselves in the dunya for a place in Jahannam, and they will always be losers. That's quite a long ayah. But let us just focus on this particular passage of the Quran, which really sets out in motion to let us know that sihr actually exists. And these things that we have, separation of husband and wife, it's nothing common. This was something that was taking place thousands of years ago. It's in the DNA of mankind. Those people who want to do mischief, this is in their DNA, that they go to these people and they say, okay, no problem. I will make this person fall out with this person. I will make this person hate this person. I will make this person, see red when they see this person. This is sihr that was practiced during the time of Suleiman alayhi salam. So these are two incidents. The third incident, magic actually happened to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam by a Jewish man called Labid bin A'sam. He was a man who got the hairs of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam from his beard. He asked somebody, can you get me the hairs of the Messenger? When he's combing and the remnants of the hairs fall, can you get me the hairs of the Messenger? So the person got him the hairs and he began to tie knots and he began to blow. And this was a strong form of magic. The narrations mention, had it been anyone else, they would have died. Like a brain hemorrhage. It's like this heavy magic. But because this was our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what would happen is that he would often forget whether he did something or he didn't do it. That's the only impact it had. It didn't affect revelation. Revelation kept coming down. There was consistency revelation. But the Prophet just kept thinking, did I do this? Do I need to do ghusl because I did something that necessitates ghusl? Did I put this thing here or did I put it there? I'm forgetting things. And then he began to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down two angels. And the narrations mention one angel stood by the messenger's head. The other one stood by his feet. And they began to converse with each other. The first one said, what is wrong with him? The other one said, he's been afflicted by magic. Then the top one says, who did the magic? He said, Labid ibn A'sam. Who said, where is the magic? He said, it's in a well. Where is the well? And then the Prophet is shown the well in the dream. And in the well, there's a rock. Under the rock is the hair which is tied in 13 or 14 knots. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he wakes up, he thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the mu'adhatayn are revealed. The mu'adhatayn are Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq and Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. And they are revealed, and some narrations mention the Messenger, he calls a Sahabi and he goes, go to the well, I will tell you exactly where it is, and go to the well and you will see a stone, lift the stone, and under the stone you will see the magic where my hair is tied in 14 knots. The narrations mention as each knot was opened, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq, and blown on, and all the way through 14. The Messenger leapt up as though he had this magnetic energy that was tying him down. He just couldn't feel the same. He felt lethargic. And then as the magic was lifted because of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he felt normal again. And then our mother Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha used to often say that when Labid would come in the gatherings of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam would still greet him in the best manner. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Labid? You okay? Not to make it seem to him that he knows that, I've clocked on. You did magic on me, didn't you? You did magic on me. You did. No. He doesn't know that the Prophet knows. Prophet knows. Prophet is cured. And the Prophet went to Aisha radiallahu anha and he said, Aisha, isn't it enough for me that Allah has cured me? Is it always about retribution and revenge? It is sufficient that Allah has cured me. That's it. So from here, we can understand that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was affected by magic. Magic existed during the time of Musa alayhi salam. Magic existed during the time of Suleiman alayhi salam. Magic has been common in many of the traditions in not only Judaism, but in other scriptures, or we say non-Abrahamic religions, Hinduism, pantheism, anything else. They all dabble to some degree in magic, this mystical magic that we know. So many of you now must be thinking, okay, what are the signs of a person who has sihr? Many of the people that I used to visit before, back in 2012, there was one famous Raqi. I spent some time with him in Pakistan, Rawalpindi. His name was, he's on YouTube, Sheikh Iqbal Salafi, his name is. And he was very famous then. Now, everyone has a time and, they're up and down. Now he's not that well known, but 2012, he was very well known. So when I was in Pakistan anyway, I spent a few days with him. And he would tell me all the signs. He would have a clinic in Pakistan, and people will come to him, and he would do his dam on them, and he would treat them according to the Quran and Sunnah. So what are the signs that you may be affected with black magic? Some of the signs are in your sleep, you constantly feel as though you are falling from a height all the time. It's like you're sleeping, an hour or two in your sleep, you're in deep sleep, and all of a sudden you feel that you're falling from a mountain, and you're about to go to the floor, and then you wake up. Then you have this same kind of dream. Another one is that you have a black dog chasing you. You have snakes in your dreams. These kind of things are common signs. Another is you don't like the Quran. It makes you not want to open the Quran. You don't like to listen to the Quran. You don't like to partake in the salawat, in the prayers in the daytime. You just want to do anything and everything to try and avoid the Quran. Another thing is the azan as well. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. You just can't stand this. You just want to get out of there. Another is you don't look after your hygiene as well. Shayateen and jinnat, they thrive in uncleanliness. At-tahur shatrul iman. Cleanliness is part of iman, and the sinister forces of the shayateen are against cleanliness, are against hygiene. They will want you to become a person who allows their nails to grow. allows their underarm, hair to grow, allows yourself to be unkempt. Another is you like to go to sinister places by yourself, to the graveyards, you're attracted to mystical places. These are just some of the signs that you have black magic or you are affected by the jinn. Another is when you see somebody and you're perfectly fine at work, with friends, then when you go home, you just cannot stand your wife, or the wife cannot stand the husband. That's another form of black magic, where somebody has been up to no good and somebody has allowed magic to enter into a household. Whether it's through the ayn, that also exists, envy, the eye, the evil eye, or it is through sihr and jinn. So these things are also common. And these things are things to look out for. Wallahi, back in the days when we used to do Rookia in the masjid, we used to get many people who used to, back in 2009, 10, 11, Birmingham, in that part of that time of the year, many people wanted to do, to get treated. And we would always avoid people going to certain charlatans who were people who would exploit people for money. I will do this, you can wear this, and then it's only £50 or £100. So we would offer a free Quran reading service. Just read over them and see what happens and see if they react, and then try and help and assist them. Wallahi, we did this for a year, helping people, trying to balance this around our own time. So when you finish work, you say, okay, is it okay between 7 and 8 in the evening? I said, okay. We would see perfectly fit young men, women, with their mahram, with their father, with their husband. They would sit in the room, we would sit at a distance, we would not sit close to them, and we begin to recite the Quran, and wallahi, after 5 minutes, they were like fish out of water. On the floor, rolling around. 15 minutes later, they are making sounds that would make some of you run out of this room if you heard those sounds. A female would make the sound of a male. A male who would normally not have a deep voice, his voice would change all of a sudden. And then 15 or 20 more minutes later, as you keep reading the Quran, the jinn becomes more irritated. And then it starts laughing and trying to play psychological games with you. Carry on reading, you can't do anything. And then it begins to make hand gestures. This is very common, this one. This one is a very common one. And whenever the jinn used to do this, we should smack the hand to take that, because we felt that this gave the jinn power. This is a sign of the devil. So when we're doing, make sure one of us used to have the hands, and make sure we keep the hands straight whilst the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being read. These are just a handful of cases. And some people used to vomit. And they used to vomit, and their vomit used to be of a strange color. Wallahi, we saw everything. We saw, there was one particular one, they even had a Rookia workshop in Dudley, and they actually brought in a person. It's a bit, I think it's not a good idea to do it today. I could have brought somebody with me. We could have done a live Rookia session here, and you could have seen how somebody who is actually affected by jinn, how they react when the Quran is recited. So back in 2013, Queen's Cross Masjid, there was a workshop, and then a man was brought in who we knew was affected by the jinn, and this was a strong jinn. It was a jinn that called itself, I am a devil worshipper. When it came and it manifested itself, it said, I am a devil worshipper. So the way the Rookia session would begin would be to lie the person down. Don't make him sit, don't make him stand, lie down. And one person puts their hand on the head and begins to recite the Quran, and one or two just hold the feet and hold the arms. Wallahi, within 10 seconds, this guy was very reactive. And he would just go after 10 seconds, hands like this and frothing and eyes red, and 10 people had to hold him down. And this guy was only 75, 70 kg. He was only about 10 stone, 11 stone, but he became so strong. This is basically the reality of sihr. These things work. So we now need to know, what is the treatment for magic? because I just wanted to break this down in stages, given that I have half an hour, I think 20 odd minutes have gone already. I have about 10, 15 more minutes left to try and break down the fact that what is the treatment for magic. We know it exists. We know it's in the Quran. We know it happened to our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We know the 2 surahs, Falak and Nas, was sent as a result of this. Now, how do we apply ourselves when we are affected with magic? Well, it's quite simple. It's quite simple. The first thing is this, that you will only get shifa from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to do the route that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam took. He didn't go to any jinn. He didn't go to anyone else. Allah is asking us to call upon Him. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Your Lord is saying, call upon me and I will answer your du'as. If you are going through any difficulty, you just need to try a bit harder. Wake up in the latter part of the night, the tahajjud time. Pray to Allah. In sujood, when you are closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I am afflicted, I am affected. Ya Allah, give me sabr. Because sabr is something that you will have to bear if you have jinn and sihr. إِنَّمَا الصَّبْرُ عِنْدَ الصَّدْمَةِ الْأُولَى. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, true patience is when you bear the patience at the onset of calamity. When you have jinn, you have sihr, don't expect a quick fix. Now it's time to tighten your belt like a warrior, like a person who's ready for the big battle, and you have to start turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more and expect it to be a tough battle. But know at the end of the day that you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on your side. That mankind is stronger than the jinn. Our default position is what? That we are afdal and ahsan when it comes to us as makhluk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why Allah told Shaitan to prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. Because Adam, meaning you and I, the children of Adam, we are superior to the jinn. Wallahi, this is half of the battle. We have so much fear of the jinn, but we don't know that we are stronger than the jinn. And once the jinn understands this fact that you are scared of it, it will play more games with you. You know, if a mouse comes in here, shoots across, and all of you grown men jump up on the table and run away, the mouse will call 20 more mice and say, you know, come on in. Look at these big 6-foot strapping men. Look what they're doing. And the moment one of you gets the mouse from the tail and flings it across, there is no way that the mouse will ever think about coming back. And this is the same as the jinn. Once they see you shaking and crying and running away, they will keep playing with you. But once you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will be difficult for them to do anything. So the first thing is, when it comes to treatment, you have to be praying. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to worship Him only. There's no ifs and buts. You and I have been created to worship Allah. If we are not worshipping Allah 5 times a day, then this is one massive glaring chunk in our armor that the shaitan is exploiting. That sihr is coming through because there's no connection with Allah. Your doors are open. The shaitan is coming into your house, into your life, because you have no connection with Allah, the one who can give you the shifa. Like one of the amils mentioned, he was Iraqi, he said, when you are being attacked by a dog, and the dog has a dog owner, a handler, and he's got the dog, and it's got a long leash, and the Rottweiler is coming for you, don't beg the dog, please don't bite me. Tell the owner, please, can you move your dog away? And the owner will move the dog away. And who is the owner of the entirety of mankind and jinn? It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that if you have a problem, you ask Allah, Ya Allah, you are Khaliq. You are the one who has created the makhluk. Jinn is from your makhluk. Ya Allah, we ask you and we ask for your assistance. We ask for your support. So the first point is this, that you keep your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what we used to advise people with. If you are not praying, there is going to be no cure. No matter how nice the recitation is, no matter how many times the person blows on you and you feel good, if you are not praying, the jinn will get stronger as soon as the raqi leaves. Once he goes after a few hours, the jinn, they heal quicker. When the raqi blows on the jinn, it burns the jinn when he recites Quran. But when he leaves after a day or so, the wounds heal. And how many times is the raqi going to come to see the person? And they're not going to do it every day. So the jinn knows, I'm going to have a 1 hour session where I have to buckle up, take the beating, take the recitation of the Quran. It's going to burn me for a bit, but I know he's going to go after an hour, and then I'm going to still stay inside this body where this person watches movies, where this person listens to songs, where this person has the azab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entering his or her house. We enjoy living in this house. There is no way we're going to leave. In fact, we're going to call 2 or 4 more jinn to come and stay. So in order to combat this, we have to have a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And wallahi, one of the big issues that we see is marriages. They're falling apart. And it doesn't necessarily mean every marriage is affected by sihr. But if the marriage started on the right footing, if it started with the barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Barakallahu laka wa baraka alayk wa jama baynakuma fi khayr. The messenger would make this dua, that he would ask for barakah for both of the people and he would ask for khair. We don't do this. We just make the imam do the basic khutbah, the dua, and then quickly the DJ. Put the songs on. Bring in the shaitan. Songs are a form of magic. Did you know? Songs are a form of sihr. And you take this in and you are captivated and you're moving around and you are immersed in emotion. The shaitan has you on the tip of his finger. How can you then have a marriage full of blessing when you began the marriage with music and dancing and singing? Many of the ulama mention that music is the Quran of the shaitan. It is the lyrics of the shaitan. It is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you dissect what the contents are of the songs, wallahi, it is now becoming audio pornography. Audio pornography. It's just gone from bad to worse. Lewd. It's become disgusting. And we are expected to listen to this when our mothers and sisters and brothers are sitting there and we think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to put barakah in our weddings. We're mistaken. So that is another reason. Via these outlets, the shaitan will come through music. The third one is, don't go to these people who are magicians. We saw what happened to the magicians when Fir'aun said, bring me the best magicians. Don't go to Waseem Saab, Maulvi Saab, Alama Saab, who does the following. If he reads Quran, excellent. Like the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it's mentioned in a hadith collected by Imam Ahmad that a woman came, she said, my son has got sihr or a jinn. He put him on his lap. He didn't say, bring me his jilla, his kapra. He said, bring him. He put him on his lap and he said, ukhrujudu Allah, get out, O enemy of Allah. And he spat in his mouth after reciting some of the verses and then, oh, take him now with you. 2 days later, he asked the lady, how is your son? She said, alhamdulillah, he's better now. Meaning, to treat sihr, to treat jinn, you have to have the person with you, come to you, sit here, and I will read Quran. That is the best way. What are we seeing in our communities? Somebody will say, okay, bring me their jila, bring me their hair, bring me something that has their DNA. Did the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam do this? He didn't do this. And then they say we are working with the jinn. We are controlling the jinn. Wallahi, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we have a narration when he's praying. And the Sahaba mentioned that they see the Messenger fighting with something in the prayer. He's like wrestling with something. And when the prayer finishes, the companion said, oh Messenger of Allah, we saw you do something in the prayer today. Is this something new? Is like a new part of the prayer? He said, no. Today shaitan became so upset about our da'wah that he sent one of his big ifrit jinns and he came with the ball of fire. Had it not been for the dua of my brother Suleiman alayhi salam, Rabbi habli mulkan la yanbaghi li ahadi min ba'di. Oh Allah, grant me a kingdom, which means control the jinn, that you will never give to anyone after me. I would have controlled this jinn. I would have tied him around the pillar, and I would have made the young children in Medina play with him, throw stones at him, throw slippers at him, but I cannot control the jinn. I had to let him go. Now this in contrast to somebody who says, bring me their clothing and I will get the magic removed. What is happening here? They are not controlling the jinn. They are working with the jinn. It's very dangerous when you work with the jinn. Because jinn, shayateen, by nature, they are not truthful. By nature, their fitrah is they are mischievous. And they want the person to do certain rituals. That is why these people, they will go into secluded remote areas for 30 days, 40 days. Some of them will sit naked. Some of them will stand on one leg. Some of them will do things that will please the jinn. And the jinn will now say, okay, I now have this man's commitment. He's showing me now that he will stand on one leg for this much time. He has his food that somebody brings him and he goes to the person, bring the food, just go. Let me stay in this secluded place. Then the jinn will come to him and then the jinn will work with him. He will not control the jinn. And the way the jinn works with the person is, he will sometimes make the person who comes for help do things which have elements of shirk in them. Elements. I'm not giving any fatwa or doing takfir here, but generally if you open up certain ta'weez, you will find things that like nida on the malaika, calling upon the malaika, Ya Jibreel, Ya Israfil, Ya Mikael, calling upon. And then there's weird numbers, there's weird digits, there's weird shapes, there's weird this. This is all part of the Kabbalah. Mystical. Magic. So what happens when the person gives them this, temporarily the jinn leaves them alone. And that makes them believe in these things more. Oh yeah, that person then brings 10 other people. Don't read the Quran, that's a waste of time. That's going to take you to, go to so-and-so, fulan. Within 1 hour, he will give you something and you will get better. I say stay away from these people. The Quran is the shifa. The tradition or the way our messenger taught us is to read on yourself, do self-ruqya. And I will give you some ayats and things that you can read. Muwaddhatain are obviously things that you read ثلاث مرات بعد صلاة الفجر وصلاة صلاة المغرب. You can read 3 times. ثلاث مرات. You can read Falak, Nas, you can read Ikhlas. Some of the scholars mention you can read Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun as well, the focals. Then you can read like Bismillahi alladhi la yadurru masmihi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis sama'i wa huwas sami'ul alim. You can read this 3 times after Fajr, 3 times after Maghrib. You can read anything, Ayatul Kursi. You can read the last part of Surah Baqarah. Read these things and blow on yourself. Do not go to these people because it strengthens the magic and the dependence and the reliance on these kind of things. So that in essence is the 30 minutes that I was allocated, 35 minutes, just taking you through a step-by-step context first about magic existing, magic happening to even the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What are the signs of magic and how to, more importantly, cure yourself when magic is afflicted or impacts you in your daily life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the understanding and the tawfiq, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us shifa, ajla wa kamila, those people who are affected. And wallahi, the true way is to reconnect with the deen. Come to the masjid, pray in jama'ah, read Quran, do self-ruqya, and then slowly you will find that your situation gets better. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair, Ustad, for such an engaging, in-depth and eye-opening talk. We will now open for our question and answers. If any do spring to mind while we're answering, then please take a paper and a pen from one of our volunteers and jot them down, and then If you have one to begin. Questions come in, Ustad. What are your thoughts on some psychological conditions that can be mistaken as jinn possession?
That's a very good question, and I think I made this disclaimer right at the beginning of the talk. What are my thoughts on psychological conditions that can be mistaken as jinn possession? Wallahi, this is the first avenue that we always have to explore. The psychological, go to a psychiatrist, go to a medical professional, just to make sure you don't have these conditions such as bipolar disorder, you don't have low levels of serotonin, you don't have depression. As long as you exhaust everything from that perspective, from a medical perspective, then you can start exploring jinn and sihr. Commonly, what used to happen in our cultures before is we become very suspicious, we become very pessimistic, and as soon as we don't feel anything, we become paranoid. I think my mother-in-law has done taweez on me. I think we don't go to the doctor. The doctors are there for a reason, and they are there to check our blood. They are there to check our mental health, our mental state of mind, check everything. And if they give you the thumbs up, say, look, everything is great, nothing wrong with you, and still there's issues going on, then you need spiritual treatment. That is my suggestion.
Okay. Another question. Assalamu alaikum. Is the shifa from ayn the same as the shifa from jinn and from magic?
Yes, these are all in the same category. Ayn, sihr, and being affected by the jinn. These are all from the same dimensions of evil and shar and these kind of things, and they all need to be treated by the Quran. There's no special treatment like this will be treated by Quran, and this one you have to do 20 press-ups. Everything is the same. And that is why I cannot emphasize the importance of adhkar. You have to keep doing adhkar. You have to keep doing adhkar. Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Very simple when you leave your house. The angels protect you until you come home. When you go to the toilet, all these, there are adhkar that you have to keep doing to protect yourself from ayn, from sihr, and from jinnat. So it comes from the du'as and the supplications and reciting from the Quran. You have to be protected, and they're all from the same category.
So question is, what does it mean if someone is given a ta'weez, and will it protect one from the black magic if we do wear it?
Okay, our scholars were against the amulets and ta'weez. They were against them because, again, it's all about verbalizing the Quran. It's about physically doing things, not about hanging things around your neck. So, for example, if you're not feeling well, your doctor gives you a prescription. Do you go to the pharmacy or do you hang the prescription around your neck? You go to the pharmacy, you take the tablet and you eat. You will not get any better if you hang the prescription around your neck or if you put it in your pocket. The Quran is a shifa if you act upon it and you recite it. Hanging it will not do anything. So our scholars have always mentioned that it's better to not go for ta'weez. If you have ta'weez, I want to ask you something. If you have time later on, I challenge you in a humble manner as your brother in Islam. Go home, take your time, open the ta'weez, please. Open the ta'weez. And tell me what you find in the ta'weez. Generally, the ones that we open, you will get the asma of the malaika, the names of the angels. You will even get Fir'aun, Nimrud, these names in there. Sometimes you get these numbers and digits. They don't mean anything. And some people say 786 means Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Well, that's taking away the power of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, has more meaning and impact when it shows that this is the name of Allah and you recite it. But if you make it 7, 8, and 6, then you have lost your identity. Brother Zia sitting here, we know him as Brother Zia. But if you say Brother Zia is now 752, Brother Zia, we don't call him Brother Zia anymore. We say 752. You will forget about who Brother Zia is. You will call him 752. And Brother Zia will lose his special status in the community. He's lost his shanakhat. He's lost his identity because you refer him to 752. Imagine the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. You make this into 786. Doesn't mean anything. Say Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Don't wrap it into numbers. That's my point. Do we have one more and we finished? Or? Okay.
There's so many, but inshallah, just for the sake of time. How do dreams and signs in dreams link with the jinn? For example, black dogs or falling from a cliff.
Yeah, these are strong signs that you are affected by magic. These signs, when you see danger, you see dogs, black dogs, you see snakes, you feel you are bitten by a snake, you are falling from a height. All these are signs that you are being, the jinn are playing about with you. You are affected by sihr. So I'm not saying that random ad hoc dream that you have. We're talking regular, consistent dreams that you are chased by a dog or whatever and you get bitten by a snake. And generally we find that these are the precursors before you have issues in your houses. Generally, if we speak to people, a person will say, I started getting these dreams and then I didn't want to see my wife anymore. When I saw my wife, I used to get very angry. And then later on you start seeing and you find taweez in the house and people have put things there. So these are all signs that the jinn have entered your realm and your dimension. And they have entered into your own inner space when you have dreams. And these are signs that this is part of sihr. Signs. But you get it checked out by having Quran read on you.
There's one from the sisters. How would we be able to get a family member to accept that they're being affected by magic in a sensitive manner, or how to approach this situation?
Okay, again, the tartib is this. Firstly, medical, explore the medical. And then secondly, just have regular Quran halaqat. Read Quran. Say, we're going to read Quran today. And as you're reading, your turn to read, and you start seeing if there's any reaction, if the person is doing this and that. That's one form of telling the person later that, did you feel different when the Quran was being read? Did you feel your leg shake? Were you in control of your body? Yeah, I noticed that. We were 10 minutes into reading Quran and my leg was shaking. Okay, that's a sign. Or I want you to get up and run away when the Quran was being recited. That's a sign. So that's a subtle way of getting people diagnosed. You sit your friends together and say, today we're going to read Quran. And then you start seeing the reaction. Because nobody likes to be told that, today we're going to do MOT on you. We're going to do a service on you. No. Just say we're going to read as brothers today Quran. My turn first. I'll read one page. You read page. We read page. Then if you start seeing them, then that's a sign. Yeah. And then later on you take them to a raqi. And then you get the full the Quran reading done, and inshallah you take it from there.
Okay. I think we do apologize. There's been a lot of questions come in very quickly, but take one more. Take this one. This will be the last question then. So the question is, my sister is severely autistic and has never spoken, but many sheikh have said that the mother of jinns have taken her and she will never be able to talk. Can this be changed? Or by extension, can any effect from jinns be changed?
Yeah, first, again, it's important not to conflate autism with sihr and magic. You go to the professionals first. Wallahi, this is what they have been teaching and learning for many, many years. Go to the medical people, the specialists. If it is autism, it is autism. But there is no harm in reciting the Quran on a daily basis anyway. There's no harm in asking Allah, who is Ash-Shafi, who's the one who gives shifa, just to read anyway. But don't again put the cart before the horse. The medical people are the ones who know better. But as a supplementary form of treatment, you can read the Quran. But don't just put it down to the Quran and say, we dismiss what the medics are saying. I definitely think it's sihr related. It cannot be. It cannot be this way. Listen to the professionals. And the other thing is, there is nothing that can overcome the power of the Quran. If Allah has decreed that this will be a test for you until you die, and you will get the reward for this on the Day of Judgment, you will unfortunately have to go through the test. If Allah has decreed it will be a test for a year, and you keep reading the Quran and it will bring you closer to Allah, then this was why Allah gave you this affliction of magic, that it would build up your spirituality, and then you would fall into this habit of reciting. So there is khair in this. There is always khair in the Quran and the solutions that are found within. But the thing is, we always say medical first. Please do not conflate. We're not living in the 60s or 70s anymore, where anything happens, it's jinn, it's sihr. We have really messed up people's lives that way. People who have really been affected by bipolar disorder, by issues of depression, and we're quick to say, yes, you have magic, and we make their depression worse. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakallah khair, our esteemed speaker, Ustad Waseem Khan. Jazakallah all to everyone here today. It's fantastic to see so many different faces, new faces, alhamdulillah. We've got a brilliant turnout. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind all of everyone here, all of our youth that have joined us today, that alhamdulillah, we have regular gatherings and circles similar to this, where we discuss Islamic topics and we come to learn about our deen every Friday evening after Isha. For brothers 13 and above is sort of our target range, but into your 20s, 30s even, brothers are all welcome, which will take place in the community room from next Friday onwards. Circles are themed on things like seerah, tafsir, different workshops such as dawah we have planned over the next few months. Inshallah, if alongside Friday circles, we have regular, if martial arts is your thing, we have regular Thai boxing, a coach that comes in on Saturdays after Zohar. If football is your thing, inshallah, we'll be starting football tomorrow evening. Inshallah, we've been giving out contact sheets, which has the QR code. If you go ahead and scan that with your phone, you'll be able to message our number and inshallah, get in contact with us. And inshallah, we'd love to invite you over to our running programs. Our slogan is inspiring the young from UKIM Youth. So let this year, 2023, be your year of inspiration. Inshallah, I'll see many of you. I hope to see many of you either tomorrow at football or Thai boxing, or inshallah next Friday at our circles. Inshallah, again, Jazakallah khair for coming. We do have refreshments at the back, inshallah, for the brothers, and upstairs also. Once again, Jazakallah khair to everyone. Jazakallah khair, Ustad. Assalamu alaikum.